Gadadhar Pandit miscalculated the spiritual position of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. He mistook him to be a materialist due to some external considerations. But then his friend Mukunda, he spoke some verse from Bhagavatam, and then Pundarik Vidyanidhi reacted by a display of intense devotional ecstasy. It was so deep and so powerful that he lost consciousness for 6 hours, was just in trance. And seeing that, Gadadhar Pandit understood, I made a mistake, I made an offense. And to rectify this offense, he decided to take initiation, mantra diksha, from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And then he returned, he went to Gauranga and he told Lord Gauranga, this great devotee Pundarik Vidyanidhi that you had called out for, Father, he has come to Mayapur. And then Lord Gauranga went to meet him. And there was a very beautiful meeting. So now, and when Pundarik Vidyanidhi met Lord Gauranga, which is what we read yesterday, he was very, very happy to see him. So now this continues here. This is chapter 7, text 144. Shri Premandhirasi Haila Bhayagyan Takane Se Prabhu Chini Karila Pranam. Thereafter, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, or Shri Premnidhi, regained external consciousness. Recognizing Lord Gauranga, he offered his obeisances. Advaita Devirage Kari Namaskar Jata Jogya Prema Bhakti Karila Samhar. Pundarik Vidyanidhi offered obeisances to Sri Advaita Prabhu and then offered appropriate love and devotion to everyone else. So many devotees had come to meet Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Lord Chaitanya was there, Advaita Acharya, Mukunda, Gadadhar. And so he's reciprocating and offering his love and devotion to everyone in a very warm and friendly way. Parananda Hailena Sarva Bhaktagan Hena Premanidhi Pundarika Dharashan. All the devotees were filled with ecstasy upon seeing Pundarik, who was such an ocean of love. Sometimes his name was Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and sometimes he was known as Sri Nidhi, sometimes Prem Nidhi, because he was a Nidhi, an ocean of prema. Shanike Jahaila Prema Bhakti Avirbhav Taha Varni Bharapatra Vyasa Mahabhag. Only the most fortunate Vyasadeva is qualified to describe the love and devotion that manifested that time. So the author is telling here, Vrindavan Das Thakur is the author narrating this lila that took place 500 years ago. He's explaining that there's such love and devotion was there manifested that time, that only Vyasadeva, who compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam, he could actually describe it. Although it's very interesting, because it's considered that the author of this book, Vrindavan Das Thakur, is that Srila Vyasadeva. But out of his own humility, he's saying, I am just writing this book, and maybe the great Vyasadeva could describe the extent of the love and devotion that was being displayed and shared among the devotees gathered there. So it's hard to imagine such strong feelings, such deep emotional exchanges amongst people, what to speak of devotees. Because nowadays in Kali Yuga there's so much alienation and so much bad feelings between people. It's very rare to get a group of people together. And these are all devotees, of course. And they're such warm exchanges and genuine expressions of love and devotion. The phrases are there. Prema Bhakti Avirbhav. Like we have Avirbhav and Tirobhav. Avirbhav means manifestation or presentation or exchanging. There's so much love and devotion arose there. So of course this is the nature of the spiritual world in general, and the dealings of devotees specifically with the Lord, that this is bhakti, this is priti and prem. There's all exchanges of loving exchanges. Personal, loving, warm exchanges based on the satisfaction of Krishna and Gauranga. So hearing this, it kind of creates an attraction, because this is what the soul is looking for. The soul is looking for joy and satisfaction, fulfillment, and love. And it's very hard. One has to work really hard to find such love and joy in this material world. And even if he finds it, it doesn't last very long. The time factor wears away all relationships and ultimately breaks all relationships. Garadhara Agyamagilena Prabhustan Pundarika Mukke Mantra Grahana Karan. Gadadhara Pandit asked Lord Gauranga for permission, says Agya, order, permission, to take mantra diksha from Pundarik. Pundarika Mukke Mantra Grahana Karan. Najaniya Uhana Agamya Vyavahar Chitte Avagyana Haya Chila Amar. Then these are some quotations. Gadadhar is speaking to Lord Gauranga. He says, not understanding his unfathomable characteristics, some disrespect arose in my heart. This is a type of a flashback that Gadadhar Pandit means Brahmin, learned scholar, Gadadhar. When he initially met Pundarik in Pundarik's house, Pundarik looked like a Vishayi or a materialist, very opulently dressed and very fashionable hairstyle with so much amalaki oil in his hair, and he was chewing pan, and he was reclining on a brass bed with bedposts and silk canopy, and some people were fanning him with chamaras, and he seemed like a king wallowing in bliss, material enjoyment. And Mukunda had previously, you can say, glorified Pundarik. He said, "Oh, Gadadhar, you must meet this great devotee. He's a very great devotee." Sometimes we tell our mothers or relatives, "Oh, I met this saintly person. You should come meet him." And then, so the mother or father or the friend may have develop some picture in the mind. Well, he'll be like this or like that. He's some sadhu. He must have a long beard or whatever, saintly person. And then when Gadadhar came to Pundarik Vidyanidhi's house to meet the supposed saintly person, Pundarik, he was, wait a minute, what is this? It doesn't look the stereotype vision, because we have these stereotypes, these preconceived conceptions about what a saint should be, or what a good person should be, or a bad person should be. But sometimes someone looks like a very good person, but their private life is abominable, or their behavior is atrocious. Well, they look very sweet. In the 1920s and 30s in America, they had all these mafia and mobsters and gangsters. And there was one guy, his name was Babyface Nelson. His name was Babyface Nelson. And he was a vicious mafioso, murderer, hired killer. But his face was very gentle, because it was Jyotishi, or he had some Mrigashirsha rising nakshatra or something. He had some gentle stars. So his face was very, very like a baby-faced Nelson. But he would take his machine gun and just shoot people mercilessly on the street. So someone may look very gentle, and they may be a Ravana or some abominable person. Or someone may look very flashy dresser, and he can't be a devotee. So this is a very dangerous thing, is because our perception is called pramad and brahm. There's these defects of the living entity that we make mistakes and miscalculation, because the whole plane that we're living in, this whole material plane, it's described, it's Maya. It's a Mayic plane. This means the plane of misunderstanding. Simply put, I was hearing Prabhupada give a lecture in 1966, and he was speaking to, seemed like one lady or something in the room. This one lady's interacting and speaking to him, and I think it was one of his first recorded lectures in 1966 or something. And Prabhupada is saying, he said, this is the material world. This is the Mayic world, the world of Maya. This is the world of misunderstanding, the place of misunderstanding, which is very interesting, because later Prabhupada didn't usually use that term, this phrase, the world. He didn't say plane, but the world of misunderstanding. And it's a fact. we have misunderstandings. We don't really we misunderstand who we are. We think we're something, or we have some conception, and we don't even actually look deeply who we really are, or what we really are. And then we have misunderstandings about others. Oh, I thought he was like this, or I thought he was like that. So this is the Brahm, the illusion that we're surrounded by. So even this Leela of Gadadhar, this Gadadhar Pundarik Milan, the meeting of Pundarik and Gadadhar, is bringing out this teaching. Of course, we have to keep in mind that these are the parishads of the Lord. These are the eternal associates of the Lord. So they're not actually subject to the frailties or misconceptions that impale us. But for teaching, for the purposes of teaching, then they're playing these roles. It's like Arjuna. Arjuna is a Nitya Parishad of Krishna and Vaikuntha. But he's playing the role of, well, I'm bewildered, Karpanya dosho, padasupa. I'm confused, I don't know what my duty is. What should I do? Should I run to the forest? Or should I fight? So there's much confusion and doubt, samshaya, in Arjuna. But he was just taking that role to teach. But the lesson is for us, because all the avatars, all the Lord, when they come here, the Lord, His avatars and His devotees, they come for teaching. They're teachers. And who are the students? We are the students. And what are the textbooks? The Shastras, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and so many other books. So we should learn the lesson well, to be very careful and cautious about judging others without deep understanding, which requires time, and you have to see the person in different settings, and don't make superficial judgments about someone. And in general, that we have this phrase in English, I remember when we grew up, it was quite nice. They say, or it was said, if you can't say something good about someone, then don't say anything at all. Of course, it shouldn't be empty phrases or useless words. Oh, he's great, he's wonderful. But if you can say something genuine and true about someone, then say it. Otherwise, chup karo. Shantis. Silent. Don't speak. Don't speak. But our tendency is, because of our negativity, especially in Kali Yuga, there's kind of a pervasive negativity. In the atmosphere, there's kind of negativity generated by bad news. And this newspapers, they sell, bad news sells. They have this phrase, bad news sells. You've never seen a newspaper. Yesterday, Mr. and Mrs. Das had a baby son. But you do see in the newspaper, Mr. Das cut the head off of his baby and threw it out the window from the 7th floor of the apartment. Mr. Das, why did you do that? The bad news sells, and then tune in tomorrow for the details. So the general atmosphere in Kali Yuga, because you have to think, Kali Yuga is the age of dissension, quarrel, argument, fighting, darkness. Kali means darkness. So if there's dissension or argumentation or quarrel, then that's based on negativity. There's negative ions. There's some negativity. There's some exclusivity. There's not inclusiveness. There's not embracing. It's abrasive. People become abrasive rather than embracing. Abrasive means rough. There's rough dealings, negativity. So we're subject to this imperfection of misjudging people. So this lesson is about that.